We're live now. Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to Market Overdrive, at which my co-host will focus, Nick Memeti. Let me bring you in. Hola.
Hold up, let me get my mic on. Is my mic on?
Can you start singing Despacito?
Yes. No.
Okay.
No, I'm not Justin Bieber.
You think
I'm just
you are?
a radio host.
Come
No,
on, man.
I'm not the Biebs.
You sing that every day in the office now.
Despacito.
You know why? Because I figure we needed intro music, and we don't have intro music. So can you please do us the honor?
No.
Okay, good.
No. How about we just introduce our guests and get on with the topic today?
What is the topic of today?
It is the worst topic in all of real estate.
It's the worst. Seriously, it's the worst
It's probably
process.
the most important topic in all of real estate, but it's also the most nitpicky, annoying, brutal. I think everybody hates all city officials in every district when they're trying to accomplish something, and I think that is because of the permit process.
It is. And
It's
sometimes
horrendous.
we like to have topics that are like, buyer-centric, seller-centric, just people. This one is like overall. Like I would say attention developers, attention rehabbers. But seriously, when you're buying and you get stuck in a situation where the property, has some permit issues, you're stuck with that. And that's why we decided to bring in, go ahead and make an introduction.
I'm going to let you go ahead and do the introduction.
Why don't
I'm
we
still
let our
getting set up.
co-host, Graco Funes, make the
Good
introduction?
morning, everybody. I got forgotten again.
You're always
Hi,
forgotten.
Yes.
Graco.
Hey,
How are
Graco,
you?
what's up, man? You're not relevant.
What's up?
Why
Introduce
don't you
the
sing
guest.
Despacito then?
No. But I am happy. I am happy
Take it
to
there.
introduce one of my childhood father figures.
Aw.
He used
That's
to
so
coach
sweet.
me. A lot of people know that I did play baseball.
So he called you
Throughout the
daddy?
years.
He called you daddy? Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
We have Joe Glorioso here of Windy City Consulting and Robert Nelter here talking about
Is it Nelter or Nolter?
Nolter.
Okay.
Forgive me.
Of Windy City Consulting.
Of
Windy
Winning
City
City Consulting. Cool.
So thank you guys for being here. And you guys are going to chime in on how we can expedite this process and make it a lot smoother for Karla because she never pulls permits.
Nope.
Are you serious right now?
Well,
She don't.
just one question, Karla.
Yes,
What
love.
are all the addresses of your buildings?
Yeah, right?
Joe, I thought we started off right.
We did. I just want to make sure
compliments.
you have everything
I
right.
said you were a handsome man. You reciprocated, unlike the other evil people. Really, Nick Memeti?
Attaboy.
It's
Attaboy.
That may be my
Can we
wife.
take
So
it-
you're saying I'm handsome.
business as
All right,
usual.
let's focus. But yes, building permits and business licensing is what you guys do for a living. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Rob, would you like to share?
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah, so people, they hire us to go down to City Hall and represent them on behalf of their projects and their businesses. So, we'll take their architectural plans and fill out all the necessary paperwork and be the intermediary, between them and City Hall.
We navigate the system for them as far as, you don't want to pay to park $30 downtown and take a day off of work and then get in line with one form, and after an hour or so you waited, and then they say, oh, where's the other form, or where's the notarized form?
Well, that's just it. Paying for parking and taking a day off work is the easy part.
I was going to
It's
say,
all this
I would
other crap
gladly do that.
Right.
that they put you through, and it doesn't matter. Like you guys are obviously specialists in the city of Chicago. That's what you guys. I mean, you're called Windy City Consulting for a reason, I'm assuming. But these nuances and problems, they're everywhere. We have listeners that are listening to us from the suburbs all the way out to other states and across country.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same issue countrywide. You need, in some places, like you said, we were joking before we went on the air, you need a permit to drink water in certain suburbs. I mean,
Yes.
it's insane. So I guess that the real reason to hire someone like you is to avoid the tape once you do pay for parking and take the day off work. There's all this stuff going on. So
The
give
intricacies,
us, yeah,
yes.
the intricacies. Give us some of the most. Give us something that people have no idea about as far as what type of stuff requires permits.
Repairing your porch.
Really?
Yep. Just repairing a few steps and some rails, and maybe your rails are too short now. 'Cause-
Why?
Because
Well,
the code
some-
changed.
Yeah. Somebody could fall over the railing.
So so say I went online and
Mm-hmm.
I YouTubed it and I figured out how to do it and what are the guidelines, what are the height restrictions and whatnot. So I figured it all out. Why do I need a permit?
Because YouTube doesn't tell you about getting a permit. In the city of Chicago,
Well, we
does.
just thought of an idea here, George.
Yeah,
Joe.
yeah,
We
that's
can
a good
we can start a
idea.
YouTube channel on
We
how
should.
to yell at city officials.
Or,
okay.
Yell
they
at them?
try to help you. They're willing to help you. We have a great relationship with most of the department, be it a clerk at the front desk, could be a project manager that handles the plans, could be a deputy commissioner that approves making decisions on some things that might be walking a fine line, all the way to the commissioner. The commissioner is extremely resident and owner friendly, the building commissioner that we have today. And so they all understand the fight that people have with contractors sometimes, or even an expediter or an architect. So they try their hardest to get you in and out of there. They don't want the bottleneck either.
You know, everybody in the real estate world, you know, back during the crash, people were losing their homes. Some people would go and hire attorneys to help save their homes. And, you know, a lot of the lenders are out there saying, you don't even need one. Don't pay for that. You can do it yourself. Permits, you can do it yourself. What is the you can do anything yourself. But what is the average time for somebody not hiring a company like yourselves typically to get a permit for, let's just say, a brand new construction project?
Oh, wow.
You want to build your own house.
Yeah.
And you have your architectural plans.
Mm-hmm.
And you submit. What's the average time for that person that wants to take it upon himself to do the whole project on his own, maybe even GC his own project, which is really getting mucky now, but let's just keep going. Versus, hey, I can do anything. Let's just get that straight. Versus hiring Winnie City Consulting through the process.
Well, I'll let Rob finish this, but I could just say that
I think, somebody trying to do it on their own, it's probably a 2-month process where we could probably cut that in half.
That's it?
And
2 months?
Yeah.
No way in heck.
new building.
I have a project.
new building?
You guys know about this project, Roscoe. 2 years in the making.
Well,
and
that's because it's yours. That's because it's yours.
Well,
no, I'm
Everything you do
serious.
is
My
is
client
ass
has been
backwards.
waiting for permits a whole year. The contractor told us.
Did they do it on their own though?
But
No, they
Yeah.
hired no, they
Let
didn't
them-
hire an expediter. That's the difference between a GC doing it and getting permits themselves versus an expediter.
well, there's plans. It depends on your architect.
That's
you know,
what I was just gonna
some
say.
architects take like the gestation period of an elephant just to give you some plans.
And not
Firing
all of,
everybody.
And not all of them are that knowledgeable, with Chicago building codes. I mean, they might be great designers and whatnot and give the customer what they want, but does it really meet code? And that's where we kind of come in and we initially look at it and say, listen, guys, we need to show this way or that way if we're going to expedite it and get this through the system. So
The presentation, you know how to package it.
We
and
do.
let's
Yeah.
face it, I mean, you open up saying no one wants to take the day off and no one wants to, pay for parking downtown. But in the world of the Ubers and the Amazons and like getting
Yeah.
food delivered to your front
Yeah.
front door, people want this done for them, especially if they don't know the process though. And I think, Nick, you were talking more about the intricacies of wrapping it up and presenting it. Like, what do we need to do? What is our next step? My client seriously lost his property in a fire. And so a year ago, now it's going to be 2 years. I was supposed to list it and bring it to the market this year, at the height of the market, which is now, and we're still nowhere near completion because of permits not being issued.
Probably a lot of revisions on that
Yeah.
with architectural drawings.
Corrections.
So
that
when
they-
you're saying a two-month timeline, I mean, that sounds like
it's in a perfect
answer.
world, a
Okay.
perfect.
I mean, I can vouch because
Yeah.
I did 7 projects, renovations. These were gut rehabs.
And you
I
got
needed-
permits for
I
all of
needed
them?
Full gut
because
rehab
we're taking
permits.
addresses right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know them all.
He got all my
Oh,
permits.
Joe got it. Okay.
He got all my permits for all the trades, and it was a 3 to 4 week process.
That's awesome.
But there was a way that he let me get started on the project, not having to wait for my HVAC permit or my electrical permit. There's ways, ins and outs, to let the, owner, rehabber per se, get started on the project immediately. And that's what I leaned on them for because they know those ins and outs.
Legally, by the way.
Legally,
yes,
yeah.
Right.
we
Well-
recommend in certain situations,
Well-
breaking the
let him take
project
that
up,
part.
doing an interior demolition.
Legally. We're here to do everything and tell everybody how to do things legally. For the illegal way of doing things,
Yeah.
catch our other show, Market Overdrive. No, but here there's this conception now. I'm just trying to think like an everyday consumer. Well, if I'm hiring an architect that is supposedly really great and knows what he's doing, or it's an architect I've used over the years, shouldn't an architect know all this stuff? Shouldn't an architect pretty much know the ins and outs of every city? Shouldn't my permit just go right in and go right out? I mean, architects, are paid to know this stuff, aren't they? I mean, they're not just designers; they're also supposed to be knowledgeable about codes, and especially an experienced architect. So, what would you say to somebody that has that kind of mentality?
I think the code, it changes a lot. I mean, just this past April, City Council passed all these changes as far as roof decks go. You know, there's been a spew of garage roof decks and roof decks going up on principal buildings, and the building department and the zoning department both kind of worked together and came up with a whole new set of regulations to help, get these things through and ensure safety, ensure that the life safety of people is, preserved.
I get that. I mean, it's all about the safety and making sure that everything is up to code, right?
Yes, and a good example is it could cost you anywhere from $4,000 to $7,000 for a variation to get that roof deck put on, right?
What's a variation?
It's the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Well, yeah, there's certain setback requirements, both with zoning and even with building code as far as frame construction goes. You have to be a certain distance away from your lot lines or the property line that you share with your neighbor. And so that's, the architects, yes, their job is to know that, but not all of them, are down at City Hall on a consistent basis. And, I've seen architects with the 2005 building code in their office, and that's what they're going off of, a code book from a
Or you have
decade
an architect
ago.
that's built a lot in the suburbs and now he wants to do a project in the city.
Yes.
And that's where you should really be cautious of an architect.
And we should applaud the city for making that decision, because it's caused a person to, man, I want a roof deck. Everybody else has one, so they go and build it without a permit, without using the proper non-combustible materials or what have you. And I know of an incident where a guy built this roof deck on his garage on a very tight block. He didn't have the right setback from his neighbor's garage, and they were barbecuing on this wooden roof. And
I like where this
Was
is
that
going.
Nick?
I like where this is going.
yeah, you know
Oh,
where
was
it's
that
going.
Graco? That was one of Graco's
And it's
deals.
going so bad that it caused a giant fire. Next door garage caught fire. A couple cars got burned.
Oh, wow.
The garage next door got burned. His insurance company said, well, you built it without a permit. How's it my fault?
So he didn't get any.
But how are the ribs?
Extra well done.
Well done.
Very burnt.
Well, I get it. I mean,
So the city's trying to protect you from
and
yourself.
here you're talking about who do we have to go yell at city?
Yeah.
They're here to protect us.
They're watching. They want you to
Big
put
brother
your,
to protect us.
Yeah, they also want to make sure that your neck is in that noose too, So, I mean, to build something without a permit could also be dangerous.
Right.
And now let's go to you're a homeowner, you're in the suburbs, a very quiet neighborhood. You're within your walls. No one's going to see you. You want to just completely rip the kitchen out, redo a couple bathrooms, and just move on. You don't have time for all these inspections and blah, 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 blah. So you do like a mini gut rehab on your existing home, and I can say that I know people that have done this. The problem comes later. You're going to go sell the place.
Right.
And all of a sudden it looks nothing like what the
Right.
city has on file, and you're trying to get
I've seen it at closing where somebody got $20,000 back based on based on what the fees would be for plans, permits, and someone to do the work, and contractors even after the fact. So that could be another one. You're all set and ready to go. You got your closing day. You're thinking, well, I'm going on vacation with that money. I'm going to buy a new car. I'm going to buy that other house, and then the rug gets pulled out right at the closing, where the buyer might say, hey, what about these violations that no one mentioned?
Right.
And then suddenly it's like humana, and we see a lot of that.
You do.
Did you just do Ralph Cramden?
I did.
You did Ralph Cramden from The Honeymoon.
Actually, I did Fred Flintstone,
Hamada.
who was Ralph Cramden, but in color.
Norton. And wait a minute, Norton. Wait, is your last name Norton?
No, it's close. It's close. Abdullah, it's close to Nolta.
Oh my God. He's never been cut off on the show. I love it, Joe. You're my favorite kind of guy.
Thank you.
I love it. So it's peak season, right? And this show it's just following a one that we have last week about new construction. And then we've also talked about flipping and rehabbing properties. And we get it. Chicago is hot right now. Everybody wants to get in the flipping game. But then can you just give our listeners just one point of advice? Like, where do we start? If you're thinking of like investing money to buy and flip, and people want to avoid that and cut corners with respect to permits because it's pricey, it's time consuming, and it just messes up the profitability of, the profit margins. What do you say to them? How do you start?
I always say you start by hiring us to do the proper research. We'll look at the property. We'll look up what the building department has on file, any open violations, and we'll give you recommendations from there. We'll also look at old maps. The City of Chicago library system, they've digitized the Sanborn fire insurance maps, which will show how a building looked for the last 100 years, and we could see, hey, was that a rear addition built legally, or did somebody just put it up? Because once you close on that property, you're taking the whole responsibility for whatever's there.
Even if it was done before I bought it.
Even if it was done 40, 50, 60 years
No
ago.
way.
Yes.
Here's a great example I tell my clients all the time when they walk in. If I just sold you my car with a cracked windshield, you give me the
But I can see that.
But you're taking it, right?
Right.
And you drive 2 blocks away and the police pull you over, they're not giving me the ticket anymore. You got it.
But I can argue I didn't know about it.
You just talked about time and money and it's peak season and blah, 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 right? He just told you that 60 days versus 30 days. And to me, 30 days in all construction and any real estate means a nice chunk of money.
Yeah.
Sure.
It does.
Because now I miss my window.
If you're building to resell, 30 days is a lot of money. You could miss your window, as you just said, especially in certain suburbs and school districts and blah, 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 all that stuff. But what if you're just a homeowner and, mortgage payments and you're still paying rent or whatever you're doing elsewhere? 30 days is 30 days.
Well, the fines, the court time, and if your building's in a LLC, you'll have to hire an attorney. You'll have to go to court. You'll definitely get a fine. And then the city will
go back
tack
to the
on
fines. What are we talking about here, fines?
You don't pay them anyways.
Could be $500-600 bucks.
How much?
$500 to $600.
That is a lot of money.
Per thing,
well,
though.
per
Per
violation.
thing. Per violation.
Yeah, but also, then you still have to get the permit once you're caught.
And you pissed
then
everybody off already.
And you also pay a stop work order fee that's assessed. So
the moral of the story is don't do it.
Right.
Do your due diligence before you close on anything.
Think about all the workers that you just put out, too, your crew. Now they can't work on that project.
And they're stalled.
Oh,
Right.
look at you, the big picture of it all.
They may not come back.
Just
I'm a realtor. I'm looking at peak market times.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the fact that I can't bring this property on the market now. And then now you're talking about 30 to 60, like what Nick says. Now I'm in September.
But they just told you that there's ways to start the project
Right.
immediately, where you don't have to wait for the electrical permit.
Wait, how do I do that?
If you don't have violations,
Okay.
right now, let's say you got a violation on your porch, you can't repair your kitchen without addressing the porch. But if you don't, and this is something you bought, and you say, you know what, I want to just rehab this place. I'm going to take a bedroom out and this and that. Well, you could do the kitchen. We can get you a permit for kitchen and bathroom. So while you're starting that, then you could move into getting your full permit.
Yeah,
But that's why to contact people like yourselves, you kind of give them at least a head start. Like, this is where you can start immediately. And then
Exactly.
while you're working through everything else.
we can break down the scope of work of the project. So,
So you're working in lead.
It's brilliant.
Yes.
Right.
As far as a full gut rehab goes, we'll go in for a removal of non-load bearing partitions, which that permit can probably be done in about 2 weeks. And as that's being done, the full building permit is being reviewed by all the other examiners. So
What's scarier is people don't even know every single type of permit, and every city's got different layers of stuff.
Yes.
I mean, some people, I think some suburbs don't even require a demolition permit. Some do, some don't. Am I not correct about that? Some of them,
Some,
yeah,
they require, or dumpster permits.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, there's just like a permit on everything, and like I said earlier, even drinking a glass of water might require a permit in some places.
yeah.
So
I
it's
got to know
creepy
that
to
town
know.
because I love water.
Yeah, it's creepy to know that there's there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
And we're kind of focused around Chicago right now, but again, I know you and I have done flips outside of Chicago, and you learn something new, especially every time you walk into a new suburb. You're like, wait, what? I've never had to do that before. Wait, huh?
Well,
What's that for, you know?
About, like I said, back to they're protecting you from yourself. Back in the 90s, there was a porch collapse. It was the first big one. And I happen to have been working in the alderman's office of that district. So I went out to it right away in the morning. And it was horrible. The scene was horrible, of course. I had kids that age that would be hanging out on a porch, but at a party maybe. But there were kegs of beer, and there were way too many people on this porch. But what really happened was they started to make the porch sway because there were so many people on it. They felt it moving. Well, it just wasn't built for that type of party. It was built just to run up the stairs, maybe put your groceries in. When you're moving, take the stove and fridge out. And even then, it probably didn't have the right
capacity to hold that many people.
Yeah. So.
Was that the Wrigleyville collapse, though?
No. This was in Wicker Park.
Oh, wow.
It was on Wicker Park Street, I think, actually.
We had the big news story, what was it, 8 years ago?
Yeah.
Where a whole
party
deck fell and, like, people got killed, the whole 9 years.
Right.
So how does something like that happen? How does that get through the cracks where, you have it's a huge deck, looks like something you should be able to party on, it's in the backyard of your house.
I would almost guarantee that they probably didn't pull building permits. And the other part of the permit process is they require your contractors to all be, City of Chicago licensed and bonded, insured contractors. So if you're not getting a building permit, then sometimes these guys are using substandard contractors who don't care. They're not going to make sure that that deck is built to support 100 pound per square foot live load. And, these things will happen then.
And that's the thing, right? We're laughing about this topic because we know how annoying the process is.
Yep.
Because we're all investors. But at the same time, we're here to protect our consumers, and we're here to advise you on what best route to take. And obviously, it's going to be time-consuming and it's going to be costly. But the end goal is to not get in trouble in the future.
Right.
And I love, Joe, what you said about protecting yourself from, protecting from yourself.
Yeah.
Because what do you say to these homeowners or landlords that are now renting out attics or, what we call in-law basements or in-law attics? And we're seeing a lot of that as market peaks for rental. Everybody's trying to rent out one part of their property,
right.
Airbnb-ing it. So, are people at some point complaining and turning people in that this was built illegally or it's an illegal basement, illegal attic?
Sure. Here's my classic story. I got two of them, but here's the best. And this lady was an educated news reporter from Columbia. She had a friend here in Chicago, and she found a 4-unit building for her to come and buy.
Okay.
In truth, it was a single-family bungalow on the northwest side. And it happened to be 2 doors down from the best precinct captain for that alderman in the ward.
Boy.
And how they found out was when they rented the attic apartment, the basement apartment, the main floor she lived on, and then the 4 guys living in the garage.
The coach house.
No, the garage.
It sounds like a coach house.
Well, the coach house had this like 12.
I need to see the remarks on that listing.
12-inch
Beautiful coach house.
Yeah. Well, yeah. 12-inch pipe going from the house all the way to the garage, and inside this 12-inch pipe was a water line, a gas line, and electric.
Jesus Christ.
And then when we opened the
You
garage,
can't blame them for being innovative.
no. And the sad part was these were guys who were trying to make a living that lived there, 4 people paying their rent, but they also worked at restaurants late at night. So when they came home at 2 a.m. from closing the pizza joint, they decided to have a little 2-on-2 basketball game in the alley of their apartment, and kind of had the music on loud. And this is a neighborhood that's changing, kind of like Portage Park area.
Okay.
So in that area. And that kind of set off some red flags and sirens, and that's how she was able to have the inspectors come visit her.
So they complain about the noise because these guys are partying at
Yes, and then they found
odd
out.
hours.
Yep, and then they found out, how come all these cars, we're seeing more cars on the block,
That must have been a cool coach house.
Yes, it was a one-level garage door, big garage door, 4 beds, and AstroTurf grass carpeting.
Nice.
And they had a sink. They had a sink, but
no toilet.
No toilet. And maybe that was another thing, you know.
So
Maybe the toilet was out the door there.
The sink
So
was the toilet?
Yeah.
I mean,
Come on.
Well, maybe.
There was a sewer,
no
I think,
toilet.
right
Sewer.
outside the
Yeah.
garage.
All kidding aside, you're talking about a cool, fun party pad. But let's face it. Let's talk
with
about.
no toilet?
Well, I mean,
That's a lot of fun.
they're playing
Well,
at the alley.
The
in the
sad
alley,
part
so who
was
cares?
she bought this, gave the guy a chunk of money down in cash, and he went back to Colombia, and she was making payments to him according to the rents that she was receiving, and now she wound up having to sell the house because she couldn't keep paying her. You know, she was getting $300 on the top, $400 in the basement, maybe another
Right.
$200 or $300 in the garage.
But that's a problem because she thought she was buying a legal 4-unit
Right,
building,
right.
and they didn't do their due diligence at the time of purchase, and then they just
It
inherited
was a
the
cash
problem.
deal, friend to friend kind
Oh,
of.
nice.
Give
Good
me-
friends.
Give me 50 grand down.
Yeah, seriously.
And I'm going to leave the country, and you mail it to this post office box.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and you're talking about, you know, again, a party pad, but what about the Pilsens of the world, the little village of the world, the Bronzeville, the South Shore area where people are flipping properties without permits? What about, you know, like the neighborhoods where people are like, let's just keep our doors closed and not do it?
Yeah.
I mean, I had an issue like 4 years ago with a client. It was coming from California. I realized that Chicago was hot. This was Washington Park area, or Washington Heights, I'm sorry. And decided that he would go to Home Depot, pick up employees to come and do the work, and then later not pay them. And he never pulled permits. So he was illegal all around.
Sure.
People are doing this kind of business, and that's why we're here to elevate your real estate IQ about the do's and don'ts, because you can't get away with it. Eventually, you're going to get caught. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if you keep spinning the wheel, eventually, you know.
Yeah. Karla got caught.
Wait, what?
Busted.
Karla got caught.
Nick, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Focus.
I am focused.
What is...
I didn't do anything.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, but
Hey,
no,
here's another
seriously,
one.
I was really upset about this because I have to sell these properties, and I like to tell my clients I'm not putting my name on something like that because I could get in trouble as well, right? As a licensed
Yes.
real estate broker,
Yes.
you have to disclose.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do now? You're going to pull permits properly.
you can't-
Get an expediter.
Call us first.
Call
You're
Windy
going to
City.
call us first. And if you want, you know,
But
You
Joe,
want some good
everybody's
answers,
buying
you'll
two
talk to
flats
Rob.
too. Everybody's buying multi-units.
Look, I got a client right now. The
Yeah.
file's on hold
Lost my
because it's registered as a legal, non-conforming 2-unit. Underwriting says we need a rebuild letter. Never once have I been able to get a rebuild letter in the city of Chicago. In the burbs, all day long.
Yeah.
What's
Never.
a rebuild letter?
If the
That's-
thing goes down, can the same exact structure be put back up so that the
Oh.
lender's protected with the same collateral that it approved?
Okay,
So we reach out to the building department, 60 days to get a rebuild letter.
that's painful.
Yes.
2 weeks to get a zoning cert, but we don't need a zoning cert. We need a rebuild letter.
Yes.
So you guys can
So-
expedite something like that.
We do. Yes, we do. We've
Yes, we
applied
do.
for these rebuild letters, and we've got them in about half that time, Graco.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was just going to say you didn't call me for that, Graco.
Well, I just found out
Uh-oh.
yesterday.
Your father
You're gonna
figure.
call. He's gonna call you later.
Stepfather figure.
He loves
I didn't,
everybody.
I
Stepfather he
didn't even
never
get a
wanted
Godfather
figure.
figure. I just went.
Was he
straight
even
to
a
step-
good baseball player? I think he
Actually,
like tries to
I'm going to
brag
tell
about
you.
that.
I'm
and
going to
it's
tell
not
you.
even true.
I'm going to tell you.
Was he the slowest
He-
player?
Yes. He was also a great hitter,
Really?
Really?
but
He strikes me as someone's never got past second base.
but his uniform was clean all the time.
Because he
that?
never got
Was it bad?
dirty.
He was, if he got dirty as a 12-year-old, he was pissed.
Oh my God! You're
No,
always
he's one
a
of those
pretty
little-
boy.
I would take dirt and throw it when he wasn't looking on his back. And
Joe,
Coach, I
he'll-
wanted to wear this next game without washing it.
yeah,
That's because
Coach.
every time I came up, I hit a home run.
yeah.
I didn't have
Whatever.
to slide.
No, he was a
home
very
run.
good hitter. He was a very, very good hitter.
Just slow.
Fast wrists.
Fast wrist.
12 years old, fast
funny.
wrists. I don't know.
He strikes me as a catcher.
No, he was a third baseman.
Oh yeah, they put the chubby kids at third
Really?
base.
Can we go back to real estate now?
We're going back. We're going back.
We don't want to hear about Graco.
You brought in the baseball
You
story.
did. You did. You
But Graco,
you started it.
he plays. What did you play when you go play?
Oh, forget it. Just stop. Just she has
What's
no
he
idea.
playing now? What are you playing?
He's
When he's
playing
like-
loan officer.
Wait, the golf. When he went to play golf, he was wearing this matching outfit with white pants and a red shirt.
What's
Yeah.
the line, bro? You look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. You play good, you eat good.
I got to remember that.
Yeah.
I just eat good.
Yeah.
I don't have to remember any of that. Thanks.
So, what?
Yeah, take it back.
Take it back. Take it back. Let's get the permits.
Okay, what were we talking about?
Wait,
permits.
so no one caught this, right? Because I'm always looking for the next best opportunity. But
Yes,
you said
we-
Portage Park.
Well,
Are you
no,
saying
it
Portage
was
Park
like-
because a lot of people are pulling permits in Portage Park?
Or it might have been Portage, Indiana. Now that I'm
Oh,
thinking.
look at you! Don't confuse our listeners.
Yeah. Okay, but it was somewhere in a I use that as an example.
It was 20
An
years ago,
area
too.
that's changing.
No, Portage Park is hot right now.
You know that
No,
was
the
changing.
story he was telling,
Okay.
talking about was 20 years
But
ago.
Yeah.
inside, Portage Park is hot.
Joe,
Is it?
Avondale.
Yeah.
area that's changing. You're about to hit something very important. That's probably the most important time to be all over or have consultants for
Yes.
pulling permits because
Yes.
things are changing so fast. Like, especially like come February, you're trying to get something done. When do most changes happen? January 1st? Do a lot of stuff? I mean, doesn't a lot of stuff kick in at a certain time?
You mean
Like,
rules,
rules, yeah,
ordinances?
yes.
Yeah, they do.
So, like, here you are. You did something, let's say, in the same neighborhood back in October.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be shocked that February it doesn't fly the same way.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Look at that, Memeti. You were paying attention.
Because I've been the ass that got burnt on January 3rd.
So you were the
over and over and
problem.
over. I'm like, wait, I just did this 3 weeks ago.
Hey,
Like, yeah,
by
we-
the way,
we changed
January
that
3rd,
second. Yeah.
Bobby Hall's birthday. I just want to make a note of that. Robert
Karla-
Marvin Hall,
Karla
my
doesn't
favorite.
know who
She
that
has
is.
no
I'm
idea who
like,
that
Karla-
is.
Karla,
She
Bobby
doesn't
Hall.
even-
It's with a U.
She
Hall?
doesn't even know who Michael Jordan is. So just let
Are
her
you
be.
serious right now? My son plays baseball. I hope you know.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan is.
He was a great baseball player.
the best baseball
Don't you
player
remember
ever.
when he had to play baseball?
Right, here we go.
Did
By
he
the
play
way,
baseball? He did.
You
play
know what?
baseball.
Can I just tell you this? Michael Jordan is a client of Windy City Consulting.
Shut up. See, I just wanted to plug that.
Yeah, I have to say it.
You're welcome.
Look at that. You know MJ.
Wait, I would love to meet Michael Jordan.
Well,
Tell
Or
him he's
Michael
the best hockey
Jackson.
player you've ever met.
yeah.
Can we seriously? See, this is what happens when we get friends in the room.
With his restaurant that he is with
All permits.
yep,
You
we
help
did
with
all
that.
we did all the permits
So
for
you do commercial
both
as well
of his
then?
both times he did his restaurants and with the great chef Billy Kim.
Okay.
Okay. So
So what you're trying to say, Joe, is you're highly connected.
Very.
You're the guy that knows
Oh.
the guy.
connected is a
Is a
An
really tough
influencer.
word on an Italian.
yeah.
Do not use
Yeah.
that.
I'm
He
sorry.
is an
Yeah.
Italian from the city of
Yeah,
Chicago.
what's the matter with you?
Don't use connected in
Yeah.
this room.
No,
Jesus
you could
Christ.
say that I'm a I'm going to use the word of like 2 generations after me. We have a good network.
Ooh, that's fancy.
We
Our
have
network
friends.
is quite large.
Spanning from the north side to the south side.
Yes. The entire city flag. All 4 stars and the 2 waterways.
So you're definitely someone to know. Especially
I
if
would
you wanna
I would
start-
like to know me if I weren't me.
Well, but
Well, tell. First
Hey, that
of
was
all,
pretty good.
Aside
a
from
little
being,
girl like me.
aside
I want to
from
drop
being,
the mic after that.
aside from being a kick-ass
Show's
permit consultant,
Yeah.
you're a celebrity.
Yeah,
No.
he is. Yeah,
You're on
he is.
TV. I've
Yes,
seen you
he
on
is.
TV.
Oh, we're gonna go there.
Tell us the commercial you're on, Joe, so our viewers can go to TV.
But I'm not on it anymore. The guy's
But
goofed.
you
They
were.
didn't keep hiring me.
Well,
So
he's done a couple videos.
You're
too,
like the
music
mattress
videos.
king, aren't you?
I was.
I seen you sprawling out on mattresses.
Yes.
Yeah, laying around, rolling
Yes,
around on the
yes.
mattresses.
I had to quit when they wanted me to jump off the Hancock and land on a truckload of
Oh,
mattresses.
that's what I would call it.
I said, "What are you nuts? Don't I have a stunt man?"
How do you go from permits to
They said Danny
a
DeVito
mattress
wasn't
model?
available, so I didn't know what to do.
You're a lot younger and better looking than Danny DeVito.
I am,
for
yes,
the record.
and I don't eat sausages out of my pocket.
There you go.
See, I like you already.
Thank you.
So, like a poor girl like me
You
who
eat
doesn't have a lot of
sausages.
resources.
all the time.
Why are you? Why
I
are
feel like this is the sports channel with
Hey,
you
my
today.
high school kids are listening to this.
Yes, and it's a
Earmuffs,
Catholic
kids.
What's wrong with
school.
eating sausages?
Listen,
I guess nothing.
the question goes back to money, right? And
Yes.
profitability margins.
Yes.
Can't-
doesn't
an
cost
average
that
girl
much.
like, oh, you know where I was going.
It doesn't cost that
This
much.
is when I start.
Okay.
listening.
She's so
It's-
cheap. She's
I
so
don't like that
Give
word.
us an idea. Hold
I
on.
don't
So
like
let,
that
let's
word.
just get serious for a
Frugal.
second.
Okay.
Give us an idea. If I'm building ground up,
Yeah.
what's your average cost? I'm raising a 2,500 square foot home in the city of Chicago. I want to hire you guys. What's kind of an average cost to get permits expedited from Windy City? Ballpark.
I mean, our fees are probably, I would say, around the $1,000 range.
Yeah.
And then the city fees are probably around the same, if not $1,500. Out of the ground, though, there is a zoning has. If you're building on a vacant lot that did not have a building, there's something they have called the open space impact fee, and they hit you for another $1,000 for that.
Come on, what
It's
is
the
an
open
open
space.
impact fee?
Well-
Who are you going to impact, and what does that mean?
Is that what they call that?
That is that you're
See?
impacting
Do they charge
the,
that at nightclubs? Because I think I paid that.
You did.
Open
After
space
1 in the
impact
morning,
fee.
they'll get you for that.
They're like, oh, you're gonna have to pay the impact fee, Mr. Memeti. I'm
Right.
like, great, let it
Look,
rain.
my rehabs, when I was doing my rehabs all in with architectural drawings, I was at about $2,800 with permits and for each trade.
That's awesome.
But going back to
That's not bad.
$1,000.
That was
to
when
move
he
it up,
stopped. That's since he stopped
Right.
using us for
Ballpark.
that cert. That's going to have to go up.
ballpark $1,000, but you could possibly move it from a 60-day window to a 30-day window. This is a no-brainer.
And that's like the cost of staging a property, about plus or minus.
So drop the stage, get your permits, do it right.
Exactly.
I would say do
Keep
it
both.
right. Here's the one thing I tell people: we're older now. Shortcuts
Speak
are
for
for.
yourself.
Speak for
Yeah,
yourself.
no.
Joe.
If
Come on.
you're in business, right?
Yes.
You're more mature. You're more responsible. Do it right once because you have something else to get to. You don't want to have to go backwards and say, "Man, why didn't I do it this way?"
It's
Great
got
advice.
value. It's
like,
got value too.
You have
Sure.
children, right? You have children.
Yes.
You teach them. Shortcuts are cool when you're going to school through the gangway, through the yard, whatever. Shortcuts in this isn't going to work because in this day and age, we got these babies. You've got the snitcher next door
Yep.
or the snitcher in your building.
One day you
Snitcher.
just woke up
Listen
and
to
forgot to
Joey.
say.
Snitches get.
Listen
You
to
know.
Joey Permits talking about snitches.
Well, I know all about them because people come in and I tell them, I say, do you think the city has a machine that looks into your third floor window
Yes.
and says, wow, they totally rehabbed that unit? No.
With
Somebody.
a plastic fork and a spoon.
I know someone's got a camera into my third floor window.
Well,
That's for a fact.
yeah, but that's only in your bathroom.
Yeah. No, it's more than my bathroom. But this reminds it's like laying tile. You do it right the first time.
Yeah.
Well,
You never have to
You gotta
work.
do it well.
You do it right the first
Yeah.
time. You don't have to go back and do it again and again and again.
The fines alone,
I
the
can't
aggravation, and then
that.
here's another good one. We're trying to we can remove violations that have been remedied
See, that's what I want to hear. How do we fix the
on
problem?
the city's
system.
system. We can remove those.
Ooh.
It takes a while, and that's another issue that you may you're talking about my window. Well, what if a buyer says, I'm not buying that. Those violations are still on there.
Right.
And you already paid for an architect. You paid for the drawings, your permits, the city fees, your contractors. The work is done after the fact of these violations. And now it's still showing up, right?
Now we got to deal with the inspectors and kind of go back to their bosses and make sure it gets off the system.
It gets signed off. Each inspector has to sign off the HVAC, the plumbing, etc. And that's another time-consuming issue. So what shortcut you think you're saving and the few dollars you think you're saving, your window, which I'm not familiar with of your sales windows, but you do know
They're always
the
past
value.
due.
Yeah, it's like a guy that's borrowing hard money on a building.
Right.
Is it worth giving us
Especially then. Right?
$1,000, which is, by the way, wherever the camera is right now, the cheapest in the city of Chicago.
Look at that. Joey Permits
That's right.
bringing the price down.
But yeah.
Everyone listening to Market
Mention this
Overdrive.
show, it'll be $999.
$99.
We will give you a Super Big Daddy discount right now. Call in right now.
Oh my God, it sounds like the Mattress King.
Yeah.
That is the Mattress King right there. He just got all
I
mattress.
saw that commercial.
I went mattressy. I had to go.
went
So,
I agree, though. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, it's very important that they do that because then you're going to regret it later. And if we're putting properties on the market, I've never thought to get our multi-unit properties when I'm representing my buyer clients to check for these circumstances or these with these permits. Like,
Yep.
how do I do that as a realtor? Where do I start?
call Windy City Consulting
Okay.
for free.
Yes,
We have
you heard it at Market Overdrive. We're giving
For
away free
free.
It's a free phone
consultations.
call.
free phone call.
Absolutely free.
Every-
I don't know
else?
if we'll call back. No, but we will call you back, and it's a free phone call, and we'll do
Look
some
at Robert.
research.
He's like, I'll call you back.
He will. He's the best of callbacks.
Did you ever hear when Joe answers the phone in Windy City? Ring, ring. What do you want? What's your problem?
That's how he gets
Who's
things done.
speaking?
Who's speaking?
Who is this?
But he
Are
gets
you
things
friends
done.
with Vito? Are you friends with Vito?
Hold on, let me get a pen. What do you think I'm doing here? Taking messages? So anyway,
But 15 minutes on the phone with you, and you're able to dig up a lot of information because I've had the pleasure of using your services in the past.
thank
free.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Grox,
Well,
for the connection.
and thanks for the coffee.
Well, you know what? And actually, as a realtor,
Free
right?
coffee.
We are
Free.
inviting our realtor family, our friends, our network.
Yes,
So I'm connected too, Joe.
I love it.
Oh God, just shut up. God, she's always trying to be somebody that
She's got the
not.
hookup.
She's,
I'm not connected. I don't know
you're
nobody.
not connected. You don't know nobody.
Everybody
She
knows
knows
me.
us.
She knows us, so now she's
Wait,
connected.
can I tell you that's exactly what I need to do? I just know these two. Hey, can you get me
She
somebody
has
to
used us to all oblivion to connect her to the world. She's
And
like,
she
I'm
doesn't
cool
even send me
now.
clients.
Oh man.
No.
Those are the clients that we're trying to close. Your clients, actually. Remember the 2 flat in the city? I had to call him because we thought it was a 3 flat. My clients knew it was a 3 flat.
Right.
We got it under contract in 3 days because multi-unit properties are flying off the market. Remember I called you because
Yep.
then the appraiser came in and messed everything up for everybody. Darn appraisers.
I don't know about that one. I think the realtor didn't do some due diligence to find out what the true zoning of that property was.
Interesting.
My client knew he had a zoning
Clients
certificate.
are
That's
full of shit.
really we went there.
Sometimes,
Did
you
he
know
just
that.
say that? Come on.
Dude, this is WGN. We have to be
I'm
more.
gonna leave the show because I'm a mommy
We have to
and
be
I don't
m-
like appreciate your.
We cannot say the S word.
I thought we could.
So
No, don't do that shit on the radio anymore.
I can't cope today.
well,
It's just really
I'll tell you what,
obnoxious,
Rob
crazy.
here
Yes, Rob.
is awesome at research. And I always thought I was pretty good at it, but he really is fantastic. And he'll come back with things because we'll check water records, we'll check voter records. We'll
Voter
go into the Board of Elections. Yeah, see, we're giving out secrets here. If any of you competitors are watching, tough luck. So we'll go and check that possibly in 1942, somebody actually lived in that basement.
What?
And that's before 1957, which is when the zoning rules and laws came in effect, right?
And if someone didn't live there, we could say someone did live there.
Well, I won't.
I got a friend that did live
I
there.
can't do that.
I got a friend who lived everywhere. I'm just kidding, man.
So, but truthfully, there's a ton of research, and before you buy something that you think you're buying, and you make a huge mistake, one of my high school, former high school players, buying a house with his parents. Luckily, the parents said, "Call Joe." Called us. I said, "That's not a 3 flat. That's a straight up 2 flat." The basement was like 6 foot 2 inches, nothing in there except a furnace in the middle. And they're trying to say that somebody lived there because they had put a sink, a kitchen sink, and a toilet inside.
He's a really short person.
Yes, and it was. It was. They said, "Oh, well, my grandma lived down there, and it was a in-law apartment." There's no such thing as that, and there's no such thing as grandfathered in.
Oh, that's a key word.
Yeah, that grandfathered
Grandfathered
stuff.
in.
That
It's
was
a variance.
that was just, I believe, something to do with voting back in the old days.
I think that history is amazing. I'm in love with you today, Joe.
You're in
You're
love with
Thank you.
everybody that comes on the show.
I love Joe. He knows more than you.
love everybody. Don't let her fool you. Watch some of the old shows. She loves everybody.
I'm gonna
like
do
you, Joe.
that. Rob, would
Joe.
you do all the research? 'Cause you're better
Do
at
the
it.
research on it. And find out who's
Rob.
living in her basement.
We're gonna. Yes.
So we're at the 45-minute mark. You know that, right?
Yes, we're at the 45 minutes.
We are. This has gone by really
When
fast.
you talk about my basement, what did you say?
Yeah.
I can't focus.
What's that address?
Well,
Whatever.
Can I tell you a quick story
Yes, go
about
ahead.
about you?
Nobody cares about his
who you
timing.
who you could trust and who you can't.
Nobody.
Yes. A
Big bad
couple
wolf.
walked into my office many years ago. The husband is pacing back and forth behind the wife, talking to me at the counter, and she gives me the violations. I think you were there, Rob. And I'm looking at the violations. I said, "This is clear that somebody snitched on you. Somebody called."
You got a
On
snitch
you.
in the neighborhood.
You definitely do.
Don't upset
Because
me.
it was like even more internal. It was like they showed him, look at this pipe leaking. Look at this doorknob broken inside the unit. Well, I said, somebody definitely called on you. The husband got walking back and forth furious.
Shut up. I know where this is going. Are you serious?
Who snitched?
The husband.
Worse.
His mistress.
Worse.
What?
Her father. Here's why.
Yo, daddy's a snitch.
No, here's
Your
why.
mama's a snitch.
It was his
You
building.
Snitch-ass snitch.
Yes.
That's
It-
awesome.
It was his building originally, and he went and got it underwater.
They were, oh.
So he's about to lose the family building. And so the daughter and son came to the rescue of Papa and said, "Dad, here's the deal. You live in the basement. You stay in the basement. We'll rent out the unit so that we can get some income and you could stay here rest of your life.
So the dad reported his slumlord daughter.
No slumlord.
He reported himself.
He reported himself
yeah.
because then the husband just came clean. He says, "You know what? I'm trying to make all these repairs, and every day this guy still thinks he owns the house. Oh, you're doing it wrong. Oh, you shouldn't paint this."
Oh.
Yeah, because it was his house for 40 years.
He wasn't doing it right.
Right. It was his house 40 years, and then he went and got one of those mortgages where, he bought 2 Hummers and went to Vegas, and then the loan came, right? The bill came in, and he was like, I don't have that money.
Wow.
So they started all the proceedings, etc. So the daughter and son-in-law bail him out so he can live in that house. They were even paying more than it was worth just so he could live there comfortably. And he got in the argument with the son-in-law about who's fixing what and this and that. And he actually went to the building department, gave him the address with pictures,
Wow.
and said, "Look at this. It's an illegal apartment. I'll let you in." So
Someone's always watching, and you don't know who you're going to
you got it.
Yep.
Do it right. Do it right
Sometimes
the first
you wake
time.
up, you don't say hello to your neighbor. She snitches on you because you looked at her the wrong way.
So we're at the end here.
Oh, boy.
What does that mean? I don't speak dummy language.
It's time for you to wrap up the show. It's been 45. I'm getting it in my ear. They're like, you got to get out of here, man. WGN has other people. You're not the only people.
I thought they loved us here.
What?
Don't
No.
they love us here? Our producer
No,
is so awesome.
WGN means we got to go now.
You're listening to Market Overdrive. We're here every Wednesday, and of course, you can share and subscribe to our our shows on www.marketoverdrive.com as well as YouTube. And you can always get a hold of our guests if you email us at info@marketoverdrive.com. But if you want a straight connection with the boss or to the boss, where can they reach you, Mr. Joe G? JG.
You can call Joe or Rob at 773-252-9453.
And how about you? Any words of advice, Mr. Developer, Contractor,
Let's not be
GC?
frugal. Spend a few $1,000s to
Cheap.
get your.
You call me cheap on the show.
You are cheap to get these permits expedited and do it right. Because time is money.
Got to let our guests give us one last parting thought before we go. What's your advice to anybody listening? The most fundamental thing to get everyone going.
I would say do your research before buying it. Give us a call. Let us take a look at what zoning district you're in. Let us take a look at what the city has on file, and let us get a feel of what you want to do and what you want for your property, and we'll tell you if it's possible.
Yeah, especially for all of you who are going to these one-day seminars and people are telling you how to flip and how to be an investor, and they're not telling you to add this little line item on that budget. You should definitely do that. Replace it with something else, but don't cut corners this way because it's going to come back to haunt you. And anything that we do, like a $2,500 investment with zoning and certificates, or getting whatever the right zoning certificates, it's going to cost you more, because when we're at the closing table and this comes up, it's going to fall apart, and then you're 30 days 60 days again back, and you lose your loan. It's a big mess. So you got to prepare.
You might lose your buyer.
For sure, lose the buyer.
And we also check contractors so to verify that they are, in fact, in good standing with the city of Chicago.
Oh, awesome.
And we'll do that for free also.
That's great. So if I'm just starting, if I'm a realtor, or even if I'm buying something and I see the little remarks on that listing sheet that says grandfather in, or, in-law arrangement, make sure that those kind of keywords trigger some thoughts, and contact Joe so he can, advise you, or Robert advise you as to the best route, because you're going to inherit these problems is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yes, you will.
Go ahead. That was my closeout.
For the love of God,
Yeah.
we're going to wrap this bad
Wrap
boy
it
up. You have been listening to Market Overdrive. Today's topic, as everybody knows, has been building codes, getting permits, and we've had the best in the business here in the city of Chicago. Joe Glorioso, also known a.k.a. Mattress King, and his partner, Robert Nolter, both of Winnie City Consulting. We want to thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for the information.
Thanks, guys.
And you will be able to see this show on YouTube and, of course, our website, which will probably be up in a couple days. Or I should say the show will be up in a couple days. The site, marketoverdrive.com. is up, YouTube channel is up, and of course we're on podcast with the WGN We Good Now Network. That is Karla Mina of Coldwell Banker. That is Graco Funas, and I am Nick Memeti of iLoan. We are done. We will see you guys next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Peace.